Hey there, it's Evangeline here at eTrailer. Today we are going to be looking at the Benton ShiftShow 4x hanging rack and seeing how well it fits our 2023 GMC Terrain. If you're looking for a way to carry around multiple bikes without spending a lot of money but also not taking up a lot of space, this might be the option for you. The Terrain does have some things to think about, like hatch clearance as well as a really low hitch. So we're going to talk about that as well. If you do need to get into your cargo space of your Terrain, most hanging racks do not tilt away with the bikes loaded. This one actually does. You are going to need some help though. So hopefully if you have 4 bikes loaded, you have at least one other person there to help you. I have Trevor here who's going to help out with this rack. He's first going to lift up on the rack so that I have enough clearance to pull this lever. Now that it's pulled down, he can then gently lower the rack to the ground. In our case here, the bikes are going to catch on the ground before the bike rack does. And that's fine, because we now have a good amount of clearance here. We're able to lift our hatch up, get into our cargo area, grab whatever we need, and then we can lower it back down. And then I'll have Trevor lift the bike rack back up because it is pretty hefty with the weight of all the bikes. Fortunately, it does snap into place, and now you're good to go. I've seen this come into action in the parking lot a lot when a family needs to grab something. Maybe a kid needs their diaper changed, or they need to grab some food or groceries without having to take off all the bikes, which does take up a lot of time. This is a nice little extra feature that the ShiftShow has. So what types of bikes can get loaded onto this rack? Well, in my experience, this works best with your road bikes that you don't really care about much. One of my friends call them her garage bikes, where they just hang out in her garage, and on the rare occasions when she wants to go riding, that's when this goes on there. And I say that because a road bike is going to have this straight across angle, a large triangle, making it easy to get onto your rack. Plus, a road bike is going to be less likely to have interference between the handlebars, the shifters, and the spokes and wheels of the other bikes. But if you've got mountain bikes, step-through bikes, kids' bikes, alternate frames, that's fine. There are options for you. You have a 40-pound per bike weight capacity. You have this frame adapter bar that you can purchase separately here at eTrailer, and that will help you get these loaded up. Plus, with this rack having a single arm, this is going to make it easier to get all those different shapes and sizes into place. And then you're going to have the 3 points of contact, making sure that your bikes are on there and they're not going anywhere. And since your GMC Terrain has a hitch that is usually low to the ground, ours is about 8.5 inches off the ground. You also have to be intentional about how you have your bikes loaded, especially since if they are angled down, you might get closer to the ground. So again, that's another reason those frame adapter bars are helpful to keep things leveled out. And with our bike loaded on here, while it does look like it does come close to the vehicle, when 4 bikes are loaded together, they kind of smush together and prevent sway. And this is one example of that, where even when we went over speed bumps, zero contact with our bumper whatsoever. So we're going to remove our bikes here so that you can see how that looks. This is also a good time to see how easy or difficult it may be to remove those bikes with that single arm. The strap's removed by pressing the lever, and you can just bring that strap out. And then you can lift your bike up and thread through the arm. And on the arm, you have this nice V shape to give you some better support for those frames, but also some space for if you have brake lines going through there. And you have these really good quality feeling rubber pads. That is again to give you some more grip, but also to prevent scuffs and scratches on your frame while it's loaded. This is what it looks like without all the bikes on. A lot less going on, easier to look at. Now, with the ability to carry on 4 bikes, you also have to think about the extra space that you're taking up. So measuring from our bumper to the end of the rack, we sit at around 39 inches, or a little bit over 3 feet. That's a measurement to think about when you have a small garage you need to park in, or you need to park into a tight spot. Now these arms do go down, and you don't have to worry with any clips or pins. It's just going to be a spring-loaded knob. So if you lift up on the arm with one hand, and then you pull the knob with the other, you're then able to push these arms down to a very satisfying folded position. Everything really just folds into itself, making for a very compact look. Measuring from our bumper again, but this time to the end of the rack by those straps, I have it at 15 inches. Big difference compared to the over 3 feet this was sitting at earlier. You'll have it in this position when you're just driving around town. Now, what if you needed to get into your hatch? Well, remember that lever we pulled earlier to tilt the bike rack away? We're gonna pull that one again. And we are gonna tilt it back down to the tilt away position. And you can see now how much space we have between our door and our bike rack, giving us pretty much full access into our cargo area. So compared to platform racks, which even when tilted away still take up a lot of space, there is that little extra perk to a hanging rack like this that gives you a lot of clearance even when the bikes are on or off. If you're running out on space inside your garage or in your home, or you just want something that is affordable but still high quality, then this might be a good option for you. This was a look at the Benton ShiftShow 4x hanging rack on a 2023 GMC Terrain.